Hello, dear ones. Welcome to the Indigo Rose Lounge with your fluffy um, throws and stuffed cushions and a log fire burning and candles and incense and wind chimes and beautiful things. So this is a space where your comfort is a priority, where we just want you to feel good and loved. And I do all my sixth sense brothers and sisters. I love you guys. I love you if you've made it to here. Oh, I love, love, love that you have. I think you're courageous. I think you're so brave. Oh, and last time I talked briefly about presence, and I wanted to extend that conversation a bit because something that afflicts the sixth sense from a survival perspective is addiction. And I wanted to try and work through some perspectives on that. So, sixth sense come into this still five sense reality. We're challenged by the inauthenticity of people, the lies that litter society, the wrongness that seems to really coat everything like an ick that just covers the world. And we are. And we look at the normals and we wonder what manual they got that we didn't get. How come they know how to deal with all of it? And we feel inadequate and less than, and then we feel broken, and we probably get hauled off to some white coat person who then diagnoses us as being problematic in some way, and that reinforces the brokenness, and then we end up in a lot of a mess. Somehow, if we make it through all of that and then we rectify our perception and we know actually we're not broken, we just see stuff that other people don't see. We have a sixth sense, we receive information energetically, and maybe initially we don't interpret that information very well, but we can work on it. We can get better and better. But while we're still there feeling broken and unworthy and all of those icky things, life can be really, really troublesome. It's hard. We don't understand what people are on about most of the time. We look around at humanity and don't understand how they get to the conclusions they get to, why things are the way they are. And so we just step back. We can step back in a number of ways, but one of the ways that we step back is by immersing ourselves in distraction. Distractions. So Hollywood has provided a lot of those. In today's world, there's a plethora. I mean, we've got everything from intellectual immersion in something. Now, the cleverest six senses immerse themselves in some passion, like quantum physics or science or something focused and deliberate. And they dive in there, apply all their time and effort to that. They enjoy it. They actually get it. They're thrilled by what they find, and that takes them down good roads. The ones of us that are not that way inclined, sometimes we get saved by a physical pursuit. So something like Tai Chi, a martial art or another, or something involving animals like horse riding or rescuing animals, or we can dive down that road. The less healthy things are, of course, drugs, alcohol, sugar. Yeah. Anything that provides us with a temporary relief, but with a negative long-term impact. Those are the bad ones. Those are the bad ones. The bad ones are things that, okay, I can drink this whole bottle of whiskey today, but I'll be basically out of my mind for a whole period of time. And then when I come back, I'm going to feel dreadful. And that whole time is wasted, lost, and I could do things in that time that could further decimate my life. So, temporary relief that causes negative long-term impact then becomes recognized addiction. But there are forms of addiction that are unrecognized. I mean, now they're starting to broaden the category so you can get relationship addiction or sexual addiction. You can get, but the same thing is drama. People get addicted to drama, that intensity of emotion of being dramatic and intensely fighting with people and being hysterical about things. That's another form of addiction. It's creating a hype. These days we have in social media, we have almost an addiction to other people's opinions, other people's attention, as if their attention validates us somehow. Okay, that's another form of addiction, though. Anything that takes you out of your life and out of your truth and out of your authentic self for long enough periods of time that it has a negative long-term impact on your life, that's a negative addiction. Doesn't mean that the other things aren't addiction too. So running, I can go running. It's going to bugger up my knees long term. But you know what? It's confined to myself. I love the adrenaline and I'm not harming anybody. Still an addiction though. Okay. It's still a coping mechanism. But when they're not negative impact coping mechanisms, they are not a negative in your human experience, right? So I can immerse myself completely in a fantasy series of books, for example. I can love wandering through worlds that people come up with in their imagination. And I can dive into that and love the journey. If that just provides me with temporary relief, has no negative impact on the rest of my life, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Sitting on social media for an hour a day, marveling at how crazy everything is, and being inspired by a few things. That's not a negative impact on the rest of my life. That's fine. And even with the EMF brought into the equation, it's probably okay. But if I spend 18 hours a day on social media, it's probably not a good thing, both from the EMF perspective and from the negative impact on the rest of my life. So addiction begins as a coping mechanism. It begins as a survival tool. We show up in our sixth sense selves. The world thinks we're nuts and loopy, and we don't feel adequate to dealing with the world because really we feel like they're all loopy. Then we're told there's something wrong with us, that we're deficient in some way, we're neurodivergent or some other label. And then we really feel like we can't cope. So we choose a distraction. We try to distract ourselves from the feeling of not being enough. And we can get very lost down those addictions, and it can really negatively impact our lives. Or we can recognize there's nothing wrong with us, that actually we were born with an additional sense on the leading edge of the evolution of mankind. And yes, we're trailblazing. Nobody's really done this before successfully. Well, very few people have. And the accounts or the stories of those who have are very few and far between, and they were possibly with exceptional circumstances. So we don't have a lot of people forging ahead of us telling us how to live this experience with six rather than just five senses. So it's new ground, but I promise you, you're up for it. You would not have come here if you did not know that you would have experienced joy, that the love would be here, the bliss would be here. You came here on purpose to experience this life, and it's going to be amazing. Don't give up until you achieve what you came here for. All right? You've got it. You've got this. I promise you a few shifts of perspective, a few tools, and you will have this. And you will move into bliss and joy and yay and yummy. Love. Always.